In Ecuador, a major landslide in the city of Alausí in the province of Chimborazo reportedly left 16 people dead. Scotland's governing Scottish National Party elected Humza Yousaf as its new leader after a 5-week contest. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced his office will delay the process for the discussion on the controversial planned judicial overhaul to next month. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. Cuban authorities celebrate a massive turnout to elect the deputies to the National Assembly of People's Power on Sunday and described it as a new triumph of Cuban democracy. The president of the National Electoral Council, Alina Blasherio, informed in a press conference on Monday that 6,164,876 Cuban exercised the right to vote, representing 75.92% of the electoral roll. The president of the electoral entity also reported that 90.28% of the votes were valid. Polls closed at 7 p.m. local time on Sunday after extending for more than an hour the scheduled 6 p.m. closing time, a decision taken by the National Electoral Council due to the high turnout. The electoral process in Cuba will conclude on April the 19th with the constitution of the 10th legislature of the Assembly, which will be made up of the 470 deputies elected this Sunday. On that date, the legislators will vote for the board of directors, the members of the Council of State, and the president of the vice president of the Republic. In Mexico, 8.5 years after the physical departure of the 43 students of Ayotzinapa, family members held, as they do every month, a social mobilization to demand justice. This Monday, parents who are in Mexico City are expected to hold a meeting with Alejandro Encinas, Undersecretary of Human Rights of the Secretary of Government, in order to open the corresponding files of the case. The objective of the protesters is to know the fate of the young people and know what progress has been made in the investigative process. The Mexican army is the one that must inform them. These 43 students disappeared from the Ayotzinapa Rural Teachers College on September 26, 2014, after being forcibly abducted in Iguala, Guerrero, Mexico. The ruling of the Constitutional Court of the possible impeachment against Ecuador's President Guillermo Lasso will be known this week and generates great expectations among citizens. The judicial instance has until March 30 to issue its ruling on the request to impeach the president. Social organizations plan to hold a sitting this Monday outside the institution to ask the judges for a decision in accordance with the law, which will allow an institutional solution to the current situation in the country. The request presented last week by the National Assembly will be verified with the type of infractions typified in Article 129 of the Constitution. It is about the scandal that links his brother-in-law Danilo Carrera and officials of his government with an alleged corruption network in public companies and apparent links with drug trafficking, especially with the Albanian mafia. On Sunday, a major landslide in the Ecuadorian city of Alausí in the province of Chimborazo left 16 people dead. According to local authorities, the incident also left 10 injured, while 13 still missing and 6 were rescued. The landslide occurred near the sector of Pueblo Viejo and buried 5 neighborhoods: La Esperanza, Control Norte, Nueva Alausí, Piricambamba, and Abua, with some 500 residents affected and 163 homes impacted. According to the local media, the landslide occurred because the nearby board was already sinking and cracking due to the geological fault that crosses the town, which had caused the closure of the road. Hundreds of firefighters continue to battle Spain's first major forest fire of the year. The authorities said that they are beginning to make headway in limiting a major blaze in Sierra de la Culebra in the northwest. According to the although spring has been just begun, some 700 firefighters have been battling Spain's first major forest fires, which so far burned 4,000 hectares of land, forcing 1,500 people to flee. Firefighters said such a blaze was more typical of summer than the spring. Located in the northwest region of Castilla y León, Sierra de la Culebra was ravaged by the fires in June and July, with more than 65,000 hectares burned. In Iran, weather conditions continue with heavy rainfall since early hours of Sunday. Due to the expectation that rainfalls will continue, the Iraqi government announced the suspension of works on Monday in all governorates. Videos and pictures of torrential rains and floods that hit Iraqi cities, including the capital Baghdad, went viral on social media. Iraqi citizens criticized poor drainage system and the wrong out infrastructure that, according to them, increase the risk of torrential rains and floods. Climate experts in Iraq state that it continues hours of rain will lead to the formation of devastating torrents, as they believe that it is part of the repercussion of the climate change. Let's take a very short break now, but remember, you can now follow us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. Scotland governing Scottish National Party led Humza Yousaf added its new leader on Monday after a 5-week contest that exhibited deep fractures within the pro-independence movement. The 37-year-old son of South Asian immigrant is said to become the first non-white and the first Muslim to serve as Scottish First Minister since the past was established in 1999. Yousaf, who currently is Scotland's health minister, bid to other Scottish lawmakers in a contest to replace First Minister Nicola Sturgeon. He unexpectedly stepped down last month after 8 years as leader of the party and of Scotland's semi-autonomous government. The new party leader is due to be confirmed as First Minister by a Scottish lawmaker on Tuesday and faces the challenges of uniting the Scottish National Party and re-energizing its campaign for Scottish independence from the United Kingdom.
Joining the SNP for me was an act of hope, but it was also a statement of intent. I was determined then, as I am now, that we will deliver independence for Scotland, together, as a team. I'm a proud Scot, and equally a proud European too, and Scotland is a European nation. We want to return to the European Union and play our part in building a continent that's based on human rights, on peace, prosperity and social justice.
Tens of thousands of transport workers have brought Germany to a standstill Monday in what is being described as the country's most widespread strike action in over 3 decades. Hundreds of flights were cancelled at major airports across the country, including the busiest hubs in Frankfurt and Munich. National rail operators Dutch been cancelled all long-distance trains, and most of the regional services also have asked tram and metro drivers in 7 federal states, including Bavaria, and the country's most populous state of North Rhine-Westphalia also joined this strike action. Former Taiwanese President Ma Ying-jeou announced he will tour the mainland China, the first visit by the Taiwanese former president in more than 70 years. Ma Yong-yu, a member of the Beijing-friendly Kuomintang Party, oversaw a dramatic improvement in ties during his 2008-2016 administration, culminating in a summit between him and Chinese leader Xi Jinping in Singapore in 2015. However, relations are at their worst since successor Tsai Ing-wen took over the island's presidency. Taiwan will hold presidential elections next year, with the Kuomintang and Tsai-led Democratic Progressive Party as the main political groups vying for the leadership of the island's government.
I'm very happy to visit here. Apart from praising my ancestor, I will also bring some Taiwanese university students to communicate with the students from the continent. I hope that the current atmosphere across the strait can improve through the enthusiasm and communication among the youth, and that we can be able to restore peace soon.
India's main congressional opposition protests in parliament against the disqualification of their leader Rahul Gandhi from the chamber. The protesters wore black outfits, held placards reading "Save Democracy" and threw paper in the parliament hall on Monday after Gandhi's loss of his parliament seat on Friday. The 52-year-old leader received a 2-year jail sentence but occurred in a state of Bharat for the defamation comment he made during a rally for the 2019 election. Gandhi is out of bail on bail and expected to challenge the verdict in a higher court this week. teleSUR English continues to grow. You can now tune in from 33 different African countries through StarSat. Dial Fox is one and join our Latin American alternative broadcast. One financial break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Israeli Premier Benjamin Netanyahu and his office will delay the progress for discussion on the controversial planned judicial overhaul to next month, according to a statement from the far-right and coalition member party Jewish Power on Monday. In his statement in a televised address, Netanyahu said his decision came as part of national responsibility. The decision came after mass overnight protests over the sinking of his defense chief and its plans to overhaul the judiciary. Also, Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir said he has agreed to delay the government's overhaul of the judiciary in exchange for the promise it will be brought after the upcoming parliamentary recess.
Out of a sense of national responsibility, out of a will to prevent a rupture among our people, I have decided to pause the second and third readings of the bill in this session of the Knesset in order to give time and reach that wide consensus.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris arrived in Ghana on Sunday at the start of the three-nation African tour as Washington looks to strengthen diplomatic ties on the continent. The trip to Ghana, Tanzania, and Zambia until April the 2nd came after a December summit hosted by President Joe Biden in Washington with U.S. leaders and counterparts from Africa, a continent where China and Russia are joining rising influence. Harris was received in Ghana's capital, Accra, by Vice President Mohamed Mahwere and senior government officials. Harris is expected to meet entrepreneurs, students, women, and farmers while in Ghana, and will also visit the historic Cape Coast Castle where slaves were kept 400 years ago.
To address some of the issues that relate to the partnership between this continent, its people, and the people of the United States, and to reinforce the work that we will continue to do together, be that on addressing the climate crisis, to supply chains, to our work together on international rules and norms. I also look forward, during this visit, to meet with entrepreneurs and artists and students and farmers, to witness firsthand the extraordinary innovation and creativity that is occurring on this continent and inspiring the world. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and again, I'm so very excited to be here, and I thank you all for the very warm welcome.
In Russia, the State Archive of Science and Technological Documentation published images of the site of a plane crash that killed Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin 55 years ago, March 27, 1968. The images showed the wreckage of the footage of the Mid-15 Yuri aircraft in which Gagarin was flying together with military pilot Vladimir Gagarin. The snapshots are dated March 28, 1968, one day after the crash. Among other things, photos from newspapers reporting the tragedy and the state's funeral of both crew members were also published. "55 years ago today, on March 27, 1968, a Soviet astronaut and first human to fly to the cosmos, Yuri Gagarin, died in a plane accident. Gagarin was the first person to admire from the space our Abraham planet Earth and left our present and future generations a PM message. People of the world, let us safeguard its beauty, let's not destroy it." With these images is what was his first trip to the cosmos and how he was received in some parts of the world after his return to Earth with our followers. So you can find this and many other information on our website at telesurenglish.net and our socials at Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. From Telesur English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero, and thank you for watching.